and she kind of carries out political assassinations in Matt's name, without Matt's knowledge or approval or whatever. And so the second season is more hyperbolic. It's I keep describing it as wanton violence. Some, like I saw it on a video game box, like rated A for like extreme gore and violence, wanton violence. And I looked up the definition of wanton recently, and I guess it's violence specific to women. So, but in the third season, he breaks free from this prison, and he basically sets up a lair in Africa. And this runs parallel to the Philadelphia Project, because after Matt becomes shit canned, after he becomes fired from his own company, because he appoints Amy CEO, and he keeps her in the dark in terms of what he's doing with all the money in R&D. And she says, R&D is bleeding, hemorrhaging money, it's bleeding money, let's fire Matt. So she fires Matt, and he uses a patent to reestablish wealth, and he goes out to Africa and he barters, where he's building his technology, and they start building a trench of 1 mile deep and 1 mile wide. And it's basically going to be a space jump port, but it never really materializes in the story. He offers them a cure for AIDS in order for labor. And so in the second story, he's on the coast of Africa, because at the end of the story, he's on like a cliff, and there's water, and he's looking up into it's daytime sky, and he's overwhelmed with relief, because now he's going to make contact with the celestial. So it's just parallel, because it happens to be in Africa. That's where he goes back, and Amy is actually recruited by the United States to kind of like put an end to Matt's plans. And and what's remarkable about Amy cutting Matt's arm off, in the Philadelphia Project, he builds armor. So he builds this oven mitt looking glove, and when you put it on, it conforms to your skin. And so that makes an appearance in the next story, and he's wearing it, and it's supposed to be indestructible. It's supposed to be able to withstand the heat of the sun, but Amy has a lightsaber-esque plasma baton, and she separates the molecules, exposing the skin and cutting through the flesh. And so in this last season, she's then recruited by the United States to kind of put like an end to Matt's plan, where he's not going to stop until all the world's light is turned off, so he can make contact with the celestial. Seems like a fairly benign plan. Like, what, maybe just call around. Because even when he was doing I've thought of this with some things in the past. He was going to perform a concert in New York City in the first story, and he had to contact like the Port Authority and stuff, because he was going to play around with the city's electricity. It was going to be like a whole city light show. And with 9/11, you have to worry about terrorist stuff. So where was I at with this explanation? It's the running around, where he's chasing his own tail. It would have made more sense if I made the celestial, the satellite that he put up there, this Eye of Ra technology, and that's the thing that's causing his loss of sanity, or whatever you want to call it. And he's obsessed with making contact with something that is basically connected to him. And remember, this was targeted towards a young adult audience. This is young adult fantasy. The first story, I didn't market it that way. That is a romance novel. It's It's got elements of science fiction in it, but I feel the technology in that first story is closely related to technology that's feasible and plausible in this day and age. The second story is more like, what you would see in like a comic book or a video game or something, except for a jump port, right? Nothing. There's no jump ports that exist, right? But an example of technology, that synthetic skin, scaffolding, tissue engineered stuff, and laser assisted surgery for precision cuts. That's a type of technology showing up in the first story. Second story, you have weapons where energy momentum builds and you can shoot through walls and imploding on contact type thing. And so I have a story after the duality called Love and Guardian. I always said that this would be a better title for the duality. And it's kind of like Matt trying to find his original timeline. He's been separated from his Earth. There's Earth 2.0. I originally made Obama the chief of Earth 2.0, and but anyway, why would I worry about intellect? Who would want to take intellectual property from me? Well, there were people that claimed that Empire, whatever that television show with what's his name, Terrence Howard, right? Is that his name? They claimed that the characters were based off real life people. J.K. Rowling had someone accuse her of intellectual property theft. And most of these things were debunked or shut down, but it's certainly possible that someone, steals someone else's idea. I remember telling a story in third grade that my sister came up with. So, so the artwork, I commissioned an artist in 2015 to do artwork for a story that was in development since like 2012, 2013, and that's the Butchers of Northshore, because I was finished with the Philadelphia project and I was moving on to new IP. So I kind of got lost in my description of my story, like why I was even talking about this to begin with. It's warm up here.